Throughout history, young people have consistently been used to bring about enormous change in this world. We're talking about a globally connected youth community.
As a young leader, YFCI has really been a gift. I'm just really thankful, Lord, for the leadership.
We believe in Youth for Christ. The Lord has asked us to go out and identify our key young leaders.
The leadership of YFCI is there to empower. They're there because they want to see people come forward.
And so we're going around the world and we're endeavouring to find the 5 best young leaders, the young leaders with the most potential in every one of our 100 nations that we work in. We're going to bring these young leaders together in Johannesburg in September of 2008. We're going to put them through an intensive training program. We're going to get them connected with each other. And then we're going to put them on a 2-year leadership development and empowerment process.
It'll be a real big opportunity for us to interact with other young leaders from different parts of the world.
I attended GA 2003, and I would describe that experience as an awakening of sorts for me. I was just in the middle of a job transition, and I went, and that experience was incredible for me because I sort of broke out of my self-centered, sort of small world.
It's why we have elevated this project to a place of real priority for us as we tell the story about Youth for Christ being more about people than projects, more about our internal hearts than our infrastructure.
About 10 years ago, the world became flat. People connected globally. Cultural, ethnic, language, distance, geographical barriers were broken down, completely disappeared. Young people started considering themselves in terms of a global culture.
New Zealand deliberately decided to transfer its leadership from an older generation to a younger generation.
But we're finding in Africa that the young leaders are actually the leaders of today.
Growing up in such a Christian society such as Fiji, it feels really good to be given the responsibility for my generation.
Bangladesh YFC giving more emphasis to equipping our young people, empowering them for the gospel.
For the last 15 years since Soviet Union fell, the gospel came to our country, and we're so excited to see how God works. In our country of 4 million population, we have now about 30,000 believers. The great thing that God is using young leaders right now.
Well, let me tell you about another young leader. Her name's Irene. And I said, okay, Irene, what's your idea? She said, well, I think we can reach the young people of Taiwan through the internet. She said, the young people of Taiwan are addicted to the internet. Now, Irene was a highly qualified young lady. She had a master's degree in communication. She was very capable of putting together a plan to do this. And so she gave me that plan. It was a plan for building a virtual world.
Our website named Wale. Wale is a very cool meaning.
She said, well, come and I'll introduce you to my team. Brilliant young people, 5 of them, all ready to go, all ready to give their life to this thing. I said, well, Irene, that's great. How much is this going to cost? She said, oh yeah, 150,000 US. Where are you going to get that from? God's going to give it to us. You know, it's very hard to argue with a young person. And as much as I was trying to come up with all the reasons why not, she was coming up with the reasons why. And in the end, what she said to me was, this is where the young people are. This is how we're going to reach them. And God's going to help us to do it. In the first 6 months it was operating, they had 20,000 young people join this world. In the first year, they had 1,880 give their life to Jesus. 280 public schools use Wallo to communicate with their student body. Chinese people from all over the world are joining Wallo World, and they are changing. They're changing Taiwan. And this all came about because of the vision of one young person who was actually given an opportunity in Youth for Christ to follow that vision. Empower one young person, you change the world. What happens if we empower 600 Irenes?
This is a place where we have the opportunity to make that once-in-a-lifetime kind of investment that will change a young leader into someone who leads this next generation into a place of affecting God's kingdom for eternity.
And we're inviting people to come on board with us. We actually want about 600 of these young leaders to come together, and we want people to adopt these young leaders.
In 2003, we were able to send only 1 young leader. This year, because the General Assembly is coming to Africa, we have made a commitment ourselves to encourage every nation to select 10 young leaders, to be mentored and coached.
You can give money to a lot of things, but to give to a person who's going to impact other people, I think is one of the greatest ways that you can invest your money. So it's just people impacting people, impacting people.
Whenever I'm sharing about young leaders with different groups or what God's doing, I just become overwhelmed. I can hardly keep from welling up with tears because of these different hearts we've met and what God's doing in their lives. And from all corners of wherever we go, God is doing something so incredible and bringing these youth forward in ways we couldn't imagine, with so many different skill sets and giftings, and just the Holy Spirit has an agenda. God is doing something new.
Each year, YFC impacts around 9 million young people. And we have around about 200,000 of those give their lives to Jesus. But we believe we can grow that exponentially. Young people will influence this world. They will change this world. And we want those young leaders that we have selected to be among those world changers. And we need you now to come alongside these young leaders. Put your arm around them and walk this leadership journey with them.